Hi everyone, my name is Damon Shaw. I'm currently working in Malta as Technical Director for Swihi United in the Maltese Futsal League. We're currently 9 points from 9, so we're doing okay. And thank you to Pete from Southend Futsal for inviting me to do a session for Futsal's Guide on Facebook, which you can find by searching Futsal's Guide or Futsalala, a coach's guide to futsal, or a guide to futsal. A coach's guide to futsal. And if you like it, then please do share it to your friends. This is a session that I think can be used mostly for advanced players, sort of senior players that have got a bit of a basic understanding of futsal, especially the 2v2s, dualidades. Stuff like blocks, parallels, 1-2s, diagonals, things like that. The players should have that sort of understanding before coming onto a session like this. But it's a good way to see how your players do adapt to playing 4-0. Try it out with younger ones and see how they get on. So this is one of my favourite sessions to work on introducing 4-0. Here we go, here's the pitch. I'm not going to draw because it's a permanent marker, but we're going to have an imaginary line down the centre of the pitch. And in each side of the court, we can have 2 attackers and 2 defenders. The defenders, so the defending team at the moment, the whites, cannot cross over this imaginary line. We're going to try and play 2v2, and I like to encourage the players to try and solve the 2v2 in their half of the court before switching sides. So your defence might be a little bit more like that, pressing on one side. Always have the defence pressing. You'll get the best outcomes. 4-0 is a tactic aimed at getting in behind teams that press. So if the players are down there, you're not going to get the same results from this exercise. So that's the setup of the game. Now we're looking at a 2v2 there. Now the condition is, the first condition, there'll be some progressions. When the ball's played across the imaginary line, can you see that? Obviously the defence will shift. The opposite defenders will offer the cover, as you would. Certainly the opposite wing is going to be very important. Now, once that's happened, the player that didn't pass the ball, his teammate has to go into the other side. And there we're looking at creating an overload 3v2. Now from there, you've got plenty of options. We can look to play in behind, play into middle in between the lines, and attack that way. You've got all the traditional movements of, once he's showing in the middle there, you can play the 1-2. Depending on the defence, if the defence is blocking the 1-2, play the parallel. All things that players doing this exercise should be well drilled in up to that point. Once the player's gone across, you may want the player that stayed on that side to open up, so that if we don't succeed in generating an attack down this side, then we can always switch back to the opposite side. And we make it 2v2 again. Try and limit the player crossing over, or try and limit the 3v2 to a time maybe 6 seconds, or 3 passes, 4 passes. That's something for you to decide. And then once we've crossed back over, it starts again. Try not to always look for the pass across, so we don't want to be playing from side to side, because then the defence will have it easier, basically. The defence will stay, ball goes side to side, the defence doesn't need to adjust. But if we try and play, now that's why I insist trying to play the 2v2 on this side first. Try and play something, so it might be, you might try and do the parallel. There we go. Obviously these defenders are now obliged to offer the cover, and that's a good time then to make the switch, and this player can go in and support, and you're creating an unbalanced 3v2 overload. And it's a very simple exercise. Remember, the defence can never switch over, so you've always got the overload, so you're making it a bit easier for the concepts of 4-0 coming out. But then you decide how you want to proceed. Parallel, you can set to your players, you must go across and do a parallel. It's not a good idea to make that set in stone, because if you say that, the defence is just going to block the parallel all the time. So it might be that you offer the parallel all 1-2. Later on you can use the block. All three of those come together, so if your players are well drilled, they're going to find the right option to proceed. Okay, no, I hope you've enjoyed that exercise. I'll post a bit more information about it. So just to recap, here is the exercise. As we said at the start, the defenders can't swap sides, so you've got this imaginary line down the middle. Defenders are always restricted to their side, they can't swap over. You might want to mark this centre line with plastic markers. Try not to use cones as they get in the way, but the plastic spots are quite good for this. But most sports halls that I've worked in England anyway have these lines down the middle, or some sort of line down the middle that you can make use of. Don't get too caught up on players crossing over, because in the heat of the game it's difficult to station yourself exactly, and a couple of steps over isn't going to take away from the objectives of the exercise, so don't worry too much about that. Obviously, when a player crosses over, obviously to defend, or at the wrong moment, then that's when you go in and you need to stop that. So yeah, start 2v2 on each side. You can see this guy's got the ball there. First of all, we're going to try and play on that side, like I said, before crossing over to the other side. That will help to bring the defence over to make the opposite side a better place to attack. But if you can attack 2v2, then great, you're in behind, and this guy might have a back post sapping. So a couple of variations. You can change it so that either of the players on the attacking side can cross over, so the player who passed it can be the one to go and support. And you can set that free, or you can set it to one or the other player. And then an interesting one is when there's a 2v2 happening on this side, without the ball having crossed over, you can invite one of these players to go and offer support. Always, if it's the winger coming across, you want this player to open up and offer the safe pass, or not just a safe pass, but an opportunity for a 1v1. So there's a couple of variations. Down at the bottom you can see the Facebook pages of futbolsala guide and my personal Facebook page, Damon Shaw FS, where you can find this exercise and more. Okay, thank you very much. If you do have any questions, honestly don't hesitate to get in touch with myself personally, or through Futsal Guide and Southend Futsal. Once again, thank you. Have a good weekend.